Question. I assume you are familiar with the law of attraction and the secret. I have practiced this for several years, but it never really worked for me. I know many other people who have done the same, and they also could not get the results they wanted. I wonder if you have any insights in why that is. Is the law of attraction actually a valid spiritual teaching? Well, yes, I am familiar with the law of attraction. I think unless you've been in a coma for the past 15 years, you have at least heard about it. So let's go directly to the heart of the problem, or the question. Why doesn't the law of attraction work for most people? Because the fact is, it doesn't work for most people. And there are many ways to explain this. You can become more or less complicated, but the simplest way to explain it is this. We all know we have a subconscious mind. So here is a person who finds the law of attraction. They get pulled into this teaching, positive mental attitude, focusing on what you want, coming to the point where you're consciously feeling that you have what you want. So you are creating, with the law of attraction, you're creating something at the conscious level. But most people who are into the law of attraction, in my observation, don't ask themselves a simple question. If the law of attraction works, if the universe gives me whatever I want, why don't I already have it? In other words, if you had all of along had the attitude that causes you to manifest what you want, you should have had it by now. So the fact that up until you found the law of attraction, you weren't rich and you didn't have the big house and you didn't have the good job and you didn't have the perfect partner. What's the cause of that? Well, the cause of that was, of course, that you were sending out signals that gave you something else. But how were you sending out those signals? From your subconscious mind. So here you find the law of attraction. You're saying, oh, at my conscious level, I'm going to spend all of this effort. I'm going to build this positive mental attitude and I'm just going to project this, and it's going to give me everything I want. But are you looking into your subconscious mind? Are you looking into the mechanism that has been projecting out all of your life? A different message that isn't so positive? Are you trying to resolve what is in the subconscious mind? Or are you just trying to build something else on top of it and hoping that what you're building with the conscious mind can suppress what you have been having in the subconscious mind all your life? You see what I'm saying? The reason why the law of attraction doesn't work is that people are sending out mixed messages. You are sending out a positive message with a conscious mind and a not so positive with a subconscious mind. And it's just a question of which is stronger. It may be that some people can build such a conscious, positive attitude that for a time it can overpower the subconscious. It may be that you get to feel really good. It may be that you have some of the things you manifest. I'm not saying it doesn't work for some people. But what I'm saying is that for the vast majority of people, even the ones that it works for a time, it doesn't continue working. Because there comes a point where now it just becomes such an effort to stay positive that you can't override the subconscious messages. And then you go backwards again. And this is what you see in a lot of people. So, what is the only way to change your life? It is, as I've said in all of my videos, there are 3 conditions for changing your life. Resolving psychology, and resolving psychology. The subconscious selves. I have explained in many of my videos, several of my breakthrough videos, how we have these subconscious selves. And, the subconscious selves are projecting a certain message all the time. And it's always based on separation, lack, feeling incomplete, wanting to compensate. You look through my breakthrough videos, you'll see this, compensation games and the subconscious selves. So they're always sending this, I'm a separate being, I don't have what I want. They're always sending this out. And unless you resolve those selves, you're not going to have permanent positive results. Now, I can attest from my own experience that once you do resolve the selves, yes, even your physical circumstances can change. My dream was always to be a writer. I have made a living as a writer since 2002. So yes, it can work. But that was only because I did everything I could to resolve psychology, the psychology that was blocking me from manifesting my dream. So this is the one thing. And obviously there's a lot that can be said about that, but as I said, I've talked about that in a lot of my videos, especially my breakthrough videos, even my ego videos. So you can find it there. But let's go to the second part of the question. Is the law of attraction actually a valid spiritual teaching? And this is a question that can't be answered in a simple way. The biggest problem I have with the question is spiritual teaching, because I don't see the law of attraction as it's commonly taught both in The Secret and others. I don't see it as a spiritual teaching. Okay, I see it as pop spirituality. It's telling people what they want to hear. Telling people that basically, as I say in several videos, you can have whatever you want without really looking at the beam in your own eye, looking deeply into your psychology. You just create this positive mental attitude, focus on this at the surface level, and the universe will give you, because you're going to attract to you whatever you want. That's just pop psychology, pop spirituality. I mean, come on. If you really want spirituality, you need to realize here, what is it you really want in life? Do you want a fancy car and a big house and lots of money? Is that what you really want? If it is what you really want, go ahead. I have nothing to offer you. Absolutely nothing. If you want more than that, what you really want is a higher state of consciousness. And you are not going to attain a higher state of consciousness by, at this surface level, projecting a positive message. You are going to do it only by engaging in a spiritual path, which first of all involves resolving psychology. So for me, that's spirituality. Now, I know many people define spirituality in different ways, that's fine. But for me, it's about resolving the lower aspects of psychology so that we rise to a higher level of consciousness, distinctly higher level of consciousness, where we don't care about material things because we realize that material things will not make us happy or give us peace of mind. Only the resolution of psychology will do that. So based on this, is it a valid spiritual teaching? I don't even consider it a spiritual teaching. Now, what about the word valid? Is there something to it? Can you get a better life by changing your state of mind? Well, of course you can. I have in a number of my teachings, even some of my videos, I talk about how the material universe is the cosmic mirror. And as any mirror, it can only reflect back to us what we are projecting into it. But the problem here is, as I said, you can't just create this. Basically, if you talk about these cells we have, right? What most people do when they find the law of attraction is they're building a self. They're building it with the conscious mind and they're projecting it into the subconscious mind. But they already have a number of cells that are sending out a negative message. So it's just a matter of, can they create a self that can, as I said, suppress those cells for a while? The real way to change your life, to get the cosmic mirror to give you a different reflection back, is to look into the subconscious mind and change what you're sending out, both with the conscious and the subconscious mind. And that requires serious, sincere, spiritual, psychological work. It requires groveling. Because the ego will try to prevent you from doing this by keeping you believing that, oh, I could just do a few things on the surface level and everything is going to change. So there is a certain valid principle behind what they call the law of attraction. I wouldn't call it the principle of attraction. Because as I've explained in my video on how the world was created, we are created to be co-creators. And we co-create by formulating a mental image in our mind. And as I've also explained in several videos, we have 4 levels of the mind. The highest level is the identity level, where we have our identity of how we see ourselves. Then we have the mental level, where we see ourselves in relation to the world, what we can do and what we can't do in the world. And then there's the emotional level, where it's our feelings that we use to take action, to get ourselves to take action. And then, of course, the physical level. So we are constantly co-creating by projecting through those 3 higher levels of the mind into the cosmic mirror. And what we are projecting is a mental image made up of what we have, the contents of those higher minds. In other words, the subconscious selves that we have created in this lifetime and in past lifetimes. So we are projecting through this, and we are projecting onto the basic energy of the material universe, the matter light. And whatever we project is what will manifest as physical circumstances. This is the process of co-creation. So instead of calling it the law of attraction, I would call it the law of co-creation. You are co-creating by projecting mental images. This is true. This is valid. Now, this isn't in my exposure to the law of attraction what they're teaching, most of them. Because they're teaching you just focus on the conscious level, creating this positive mental attitude, and you don't have to look deeply into psychology. And that's just not valid. I mean, it can't be done. It's just impossible. Essentially, you're selling an impossible dream. Now, I know there are some videos out there that are highly critical of the law of attraction. I'm not critical of the law of attraction. It's just selling a modern version of the dream that traditional religion has been selling people for thousands of years. Namely, you can be saved and enter heaven without changing your psychology and your state of consciousness. Just do these few outer things and you'll be saved. This is what religions have been saying. This is what Christianity and Islam and Judaism are still saying. So how is the law of attraction any worse than that? They've just been some smart marketing people that looked at this. But what I'm saying is, behind this hyped up version, there is some valid spiritual principles that your state of mind does have an influence on what you get back from the universe. However, and it's a big however, are you the only person on the planet? No. So, as I've also explained in my videos about how the world works, we human beings have collectively co-created current conditions on Earth. And one of those conditions is a lack of resources leading to poverty. And what the law of attraction ignores is the actual state of the planet. And the fundamental laws of economics. So, most people who go into the law of attraction, they want money because they somehow think that if they have enough money, it's going to solve all their problems. That isn't true. That's, of course, again, pop spirituality. But how are you? Here are you, in your present situation. How are you going to get more money? How is money created? How is money generated? How do people concentrate money in their own hands? What we can say is, if we look at the world right now, 8 billion people on the planet, we could say there's X amount of money on the planet. If we distributed all of that money equally, would everybody be a millionaire? No, because there isn't enough money for everybody to be rich. So what do we see on the planet? We see that most people are poor and a few people in the top class are very, very rich, have actually more money than they need, right? So what we see is, first of all, there's a genuine lack of money. There isn't enough money for everybody to go around. There is a concentration of money in the hands of a few people, right? So how is money created? Money is created by adding value. One way. You are producing a product, you are providing a service. You are creating something of value, and you are rewarded by getting paid in money. The other way is that money can be created artificially, which is what the financial instruments are doing, the entire financial sector. You have all these instruments for creating money that isn't tied to anything that has value. When you create money as a service or a product, there is an actual physical thing that the money is tied to. But what the financial industry is doing there is creating money out of the blue, and it's not tied to anything. So, most of the very rich people, they don't have real money because they don't provide a product or a service. They have artificially created money. Doing this is not a spiritual activity. In fact, it's an anti-spiritual activity, and it creates karma. Right? So you, if you're a spiritual person, you should ask yourself, do I want to get money by being part of what the rich people are doing? Do I want to be part of that group karma that they're creating for themselves? Do I want money that badly that I'm going to say, I don't care about the karma I'm making, I just want to be rich in this lifetime? The other thing that the power elite, the economic elite is doing is, of course, they're stealing the value of people's labor. They're getting other people to do the work and they're stealing the value of it. Also creating karma. Do you want to be part of that? No. So if you don't want to be part of that, how is the law of attraction, as it's described in The Secret and other these teachings, how is it going to manifest money for you? What they're basically saying is, sit on your butt and think positive thoughts, and money will fall in your lap. Where's that money going to fall from? It's either going to be artificially created money or money from other people who are doing actual work and providing a service. Is that the kind of karma you want to make, even if it was possible? So what you realize here is that if you're a spiritual person, it isn't enough to be positive. Yes, you need to be positive. You need to change your way of thinking, but that's done, as I said, by resolving psychology, not by, oh, I'm positive, I'm rich, You do it by really changing your psychology, changing what you're sending out. But the omega aspect of that, there's always an alpha and an omega. The omega aspect is you actually do something that adds value for other people. And, I know many people would look at me and say, but you've got it made. I mean, your dream was to be a writer. You've been a writer since 2002. The money is just coming to you. But it's not just coming to me. It's because I'm created something of value that other people can find, and it has value to them, and that's why. And you need to do the same, however you can do it. I mean, hello, sitting around being positive, or rather pretending to be positive, where's the money going to come from that's supposedly falling in your lap? Oh yes, those who are these smart marketing people who are teaching the law of attraction on these expensive seminars. Yes, it is coming to them. They have used the law of attraction to attract wealth to them. But why have they done it? Is it the law of attraction, or is it selling a dream? Now, I don't have any problem with this. I don't have any problem with people making money because, as I said, even if a person is teaching a principle that isn't valid, if people continue to go to these seminars and pay money for it, it must be giving people something of value, even if it's a false hope. That false hope must have value for people, at least temporarily, or they wouldn't pay for it. So I don't have a problem with it. It is what it is. You get what you pay for. But what I'm saying is, when you come to this point where you realize that the law of attraction isn't working for you, well, then you need to rethink. You need to step back and say, what's really going on here? And in this video, I've given you some hints. There are many more in my other videos, my breakthrough videos, my ego videos, my books and websites. There's just so much material there that's about a genuine spiritual path, genuinely changing your state of consciousness. Now again, most people just want a shortcut. They want the easy way to change the outer situation. As I said, I have absolutely nothing for you because I will not play the game of pretending because I know it doesn't work. So if you want something that works, take a look. I'm not the only one who has something that works, but find something that talks about the transformation of consciousness by resolving psychology. That's what works.